All right, diving right back into things. We're going to have Rascal Jester taking on AXIZ Gaming. Now, this is one of those matches of... they're both the 5th place teams. Neither team really has accrued a win yet. So, for Rascal Jester, if Rascal Jester were to win this, you can keep AXIZ without a win for another week. Although if you are AXIZ Gaming, this is your last chance to find a win in this week, and AXIZ has been looking a bit shaky. Rascal Jester has had ups and downs. Pink has really yet to show himself in the LJL. I feel definitely that his performances have been a little bit lackluster in the mid lane, just a couple times, even when giving him the champion that he wants. There was a series into DFM where he was able to get some stuff going, but it still was in large part both teams just, or, you know, DFM came out as the better team. And in a lot of other games, they've just been picking apart Pink, especially, and Rascal Jester really hasn't been able to get a good ball rolling for their team. Meanwhile, on the side of AXIZ, it's a different problem of the team itself just doesn't entirely feel on the same page. It feels like every time one member is ready to go, the rest of the team just isn't quite ready to respond, or on the inverse, if one of their members is getting caught, then the rest of the team kind of scrambles and there's this desperation and they end up losing way more than they should in a lot of exchanges, just trying to pick up pieces of fights. The individual play in lanes, save for Natsume in the top lane, on AXIZ's side have been okay, but we'll see if either team is really able to clean things up altogether here. And while we're waiting for this game to get started up, I do think I want to say in this series, before looking at drafts, before looking at anything else like that, I want to say I believe in Rascal Jester. If we're talking purely a prediction before draft happens, I'm gonna try to hand it to Rascal Jester. I think overall they have some things that can be overcome, and I think there is a world where you can put Pink in a more of a supportive position in the mid lane, so you don't have to rely too heavily on his solo performance. That being said, I do kind of think that AXIZ, if they're just... The problems for AXIZ is not as much individual play, and so there's sort of a disconnect here, because it's very hard to get the reasoning behind these kinds of issues within a team. It's very hard to get an introspective into what is going on in the team comms. Is there not enough talking? Is it jumbled? Are we not on the same page as what the coach wants? Things like that I feel like are sometimes harder to fix than individual play on the side of Rascal Jester. We still have much more of Pink to see this split, so hopefully we'll be able to kind of see what he comes up with throughout the remainder of this split. And then for Nagi as well in the support position, I feel definitely is sort of the same story of you don't need to put him in situations where he has too much pressure drawn upon himself. So definitely opportunities for both teams here. I gotta give it to... I'm calling Rascal Jester early on. I think draft will definitely be very indicative of how this game goes, just due to the nature of AXIZ not exactly having the most consistent strong drafts in the game. Well, Rascal Jester, if I do recall into their past couple weeks, they have had okay drafts. They sort of do the full house, as I like to call it in the LJL, where 3 champions of one side kind of work together, and then they usually will have top and jungle that don't quite work with the comp, but they work with each other. And sort of doing that play where you have the top side be your strong side of the map, and then you're hoping to get a jungle advantage there, and etc, etc. It's sort of been something that the LJL has been constantly looking towards as potential win cons. All of that being said, we've seen what AXIZ are doing now that they're back on the pro play stage. They're live and in person, and it is better than their performances were online, but still, unfortunately, leaving just a little bit to be desired from just the teamwork area of a lot of their play so far. Perhaps it can be cleaned up here. You know, you do have a hard matchup. Playing against Sengoku definitely puts the pressure on. But AXIZ definitely can prove themselves if they rally together here and they really, you know, clear their heads from the last game and get ready for a fresh start here on the Rift. Meanwhile, Rascal Jester, curious to see what they're coming out with. They're back to live and in person. And still doing my best to hold off on being too harsh on a lot of the newer players. We're, you know, still rookies, still dealing with a lot of changes, even within just the season so far, and then as well just coming to the pro play stage. But Pink has kind of been one of the rookie players that has just kind of struggled the most so far in the pro play adjustment. You know, even giving him a Katarina, they put priority on giving him a Katarina so that he had something he was comfortable on, and pretty much outside of the first 15 minutes of the game, there was just never a fight that the Katarina was able to get value out of. And it never feels good to be the champion that is giving, or the player that is giving a champion a 0% win rate in pro play. Granted, that's only of one game of play, but doesn't feel any better when your entire team is going 0-5 in the split so far. But this is the chance. This is going to be the tiebreaker for 5th place to see which team, or for last place, to see where each team goes from here. If any of the teams want to be chasing Hawks Gaming back up the ladder, this is going to be an important win for them. We're still waiting for everything to get started up here on in the picks and bans so far. Now, one thing that I do kind of look at, especially in this match, is the jungle matchup. I'm always a huge fan of looking how different junglers kind of play things out, but Hachimecha has always kind of been one of those junglers that I look at and I always think he's somewhat feast or famine when it comes to just overall how he plays out scenarios. I've seen him do particularly well in some games, and he's proven himself that he can keep up in the jungle, but they didn't also just have some games that I'm watching and it just doesn't feel like he's able to get enough early value. Feels very snowball heavy, and we'll see if he's able to pull out all the stops against AXIZ if they want to find their first win here as we're going into picks and bans. AXIZ going to be banning away Katarina right away. Not wanting to play into Pink's cat on that one, so a little bit of respect given over to him right away. While Varus going to be hitting the ban table once more. Likely we'll be seeing, yep, there's the Karma ban right away. Syndra soon to follow that one up. Now, one thing I am curious, I was going to say, I would imagine these teams are going to be banning away Aphelios. It's very hard for even the higher end teams to be playing around Aphelios. It takes a lot of team cohesion, very specific champions, and sort of a game plan to counter Aphelios. But AXIZ are going to first lock the Kalista. And I actually don't mind the R1 on the B1 on Kalista here, as it sort of presents itself as a little bit of a pseudo flex opportunity. We have not seen a whole lot of Kalistas in the solo lanes. We have not seen a Kalista top in a very long time, but does have that opportunity open if AXIZ are looking to open up their summer split history books and bring that one back from where it once lay. As Rascal Jester can look at their second pick up here, set another flex pick opportunity. 80 secured and locking up that set. Great way to start things off here for Rascal Jester, setting themselves in a great position now. Now, AXIZ still has a couple opportunities that they can look for here. Thresh, a great one that doesn't show too much. Likely wouldn't be surprised if we saw a Trundle coming in off the blind here as well. But Renekton actually going to be locked in right away. And I actually do kind of like the Renekton here. Works very well with the early aggressive style that Kalista typically employs, while also just being very good into set if set is put up into the top lane, but then also pressures out a lot of other top lane alternatives if Rascal Jester wanted to send this set into the support position. Thresh going to be picked up as well. AXIZ holding off on their jungle pick for now. Well, Rascal Jester looking at the Ornn pickup, a great way to neutralize a Renekton very early on. It's just so hard to knock down and actually kill an Ornn. We did see some of the Bork Renektons coming into Ornn, into those kind of hyper tanks to try and, stand a chance in those side lanes. So I wouldn't be surprised. If this is something that, or if we saw Natsume kind of pulling out the same thing, is very comfortable in practice on the Renekton at this point. Well, two mid lane bans coming out right away. Azir and Corki banned away from the side of AXIZ, while Galio taken away from the side of Rascal Jester. Now, the Galio one being banned by AXIZ is actually kind of interesting to me, because it's easily a pick they could have nabbed up for themselves if they really wanted to. But then also banning away the Rek'Sai from Hachimecha, understandably so. As AXIZ, number of target bans given over to Rascal Jester. With their next pick to lock in here. Couple jungle champions still open. Lee Sin definitely going to be one of them, as Lee Sin, Trundle, couple of those priority jungle picks, as Hachimecha going to be bringing out the Lee here. Now, AXIZ have a couple opportunities. Wouldn't be a bad spot for Trundle to come in here, as you do get a decent amount of value from the Ornn. Helps out your top laner with potential to kill there. But the Fiddlesticks is actually going to be locked in here. And it looks like it'll be a Fiddlesticks in the jungle. I was going to say the Bard was throwing me off a bit there, but the Tristana lock-in will most likely mean Tristana moving over into the mid lane, Or actually, no, this is a very interesting draft opportunity where the Tristana could be pivoted towards the bottom lane if they want to send the Kalista solo into the top side and send Renekton mid. Or Rascal Jester going to be rounding up the draft here with a Malzahar just to try and have one safe pick into the mess that AXIZ definitely have put themselves into here. And it is going to be the Tristana in the mid lane, and I like what AXIZ are going for here. This is the second Fiddles that I've seen in pro play recently. In the jungle specifically, we did see, I believe it was Damwon into KT a couple nights ago, playing the Fiddlesticks into a Trundle matchup. So this is definitely an interesting one to be seeing Hoglet pull out here alongside the Tristana mid for AXIZ Gaming. Two a little bit more unconventional picks, but I like where their heads are at. I'm just looking at this table. We have a couple unusual picks hitting the stage. Fiddlesticks, Tristana, and Malzahar has been long away from the from the pro scene for some time now, so a bit interesting. Anyone who knows me well knows I am a huge Fiddlesticks fan. I loved old Fiddlesticks, and his rework just came out so beautiful. They did such a good job with him as far as his visuals and everything, so I'm looking forward to seeing it.
LJL 2020. Brought to you by Ipopitande, the LJL official drink party. Game on.
さあ始まりました LJL2020 サマースプリットウィーク3ゲーム6ラスカルジェスター vs アクシズの試合スタートです。それではコーチインタビューが来ております。
こちらにはラスカルジェスターのラングローコーチにお越しいただいております。よろしくお願いします。
Alright, now for looking across here, one thing I immediately look at is Hoglet did go for the Unsealed Spellbook for the Jungle Fiddlesticks. A little bit interesting is usually between that and the Electrocute, commonly seen on the Fiddlesticks. Although the Unsealed Spellbook does make a little bit of sense as far as Fiddlesticks during the post the rework did lose the move speed bonus that he gets after casting a channeled ability. So Unsealed Spellbook, if it is coming in alongside a Nimbus Cloak, would actually be an understandable pickup. And you can actually see Hoglet is going for kind of a clear that Fiddlesticks specifically gets to kind of employ here, but also being able to get one health pot and buy a pink ward just to have that early permanent vision in the river is actually one of the benefits of having a champion that can clear and has so much healing inherent to their kit that they're able to make it work. And Hoglet going to be rushing to that level 3. Name of the game for Fiddlesticks is, of course, to try and push to that level 6 as soon as possible. Looking to get value out of his ultimate as well as upgrade his trinket, which does turn into that sweeper as well at level 6. Gives him a lot more presence there. You can see the members of AXIZ are already wandering up here to kind of play around in Lee Sin's blue side here. I believe they're on the blue buff. They're spinning a yeah, I was going to say they are going to take the blue buff away from the top side. Trying to set Hachimecha behind a little bit. Doesn't exactly do AXIZ Gaming a whole lot. But Garaidu just got a solo kill in the mid lane while we were thinking about it. Pink once again getting picked on as the new guy. Garaidu just going to go ahead and solo kill him, burning down the Ignite for an early first blood there. That is sort of the risk of playing Malzahar here is this isn't exactly a lane you get to bully as hard as the E just does not keep as much damage, and Pink just took about 4 or 5 autos there before Gorairu was just able to knock him down pretty much for free. Pink not showing nearly enough respect to Gorairu, and that's kind of one of those plays that you just sort of scratch your head when you watch. As Hoglet's going to be wandering over here to go ahead and fetch himself up a crab. But this is definitely looking like AXIZ starting this one off strong. And Pink needs to be cleaning up that play a bit if he wants to try and stay in this one. Malzahar not exactly the best lane into the all-in potential of Tristana, but does set up great gank assists, so we'll be looking for that level 6 opportunity to try and find a way back in here. A great hook will get a little extra damage there, but the Haymaker gonna cover for the most part of that one. That was a little bit interesting. I don't think the Spell Shield actually blocked the E from Tristana. I thought it might have in most scenarios, but you can see Hoglet already onto his second clear, cresting into that level 5 from those empowered camps as another hook landed on a Nagi here. Right now, it's feeling like AXIZ are just getting the better end of a lot of these solo lanes. And you can see some pings coming out from AXIZ. They know exactly where Hachimecha is. But Natsume at the moment seems undeterred. It looks like a gank is going to be going off on the top side here. Meanwhile, Gorairu's looking for a play on the bottom side of things as Hachimecha is retreating up towards the top side, but flash in from Nagi, not going to quite get the stun, gets dragged in return, and Rascal... No, That just felt like a huge amount of disconnect on Rascal Jester's side. You have nearly no vision to know where Gorairu was. You see him missing from the mid lane, and then you take the opportunity to flash in the middle of lane on a Callista that has full sums available, not even throwing down the exhaust. Nagi kind of feel it, or like it kind of just felt like Nagi lost his mind there for a second. Rascal Jester seemed to be playing with a level of desperation as now a teleport coming in from the side of AXIZ. That's going to be the Hoglet actually with the unsealed spellbook. Now going to be able to get anything off of it, but will save his top laner's pink ward. As Hoglet mere camps away from getting onto that level 6. As he will spot out the red buff on this side of the map. Is going to take an opportunity to invade. Well, Hachimecha picks up that bottom lane there. They did end up getting Dragon off of that, so AXIZ with a great play there for the Mountain Drake. Actually, no, really just punishing Nagi's play, which was a little bit random as Hachimecha, speaking of random, walking in a bit too far for an invade. Gorairu has all the strength in this lane. Beautifully done. The R into the auto combo. Right now, Rascal Jester are just playing with zero amount of respect or awareness for what Rascal Jester's comp does, and here they come. Hoglet just going to be able to help kill that one over. Gorairu happy to just jump on top of whoever his team points at. You know what I had criticized AXIZ for in the last game of having a little bit of lack of team cohesion, they have made up for in this game, and right now just being the better team. Rascal Jester are just kind of crumbling on all fronts. Kokog in the top lane is the only one that's really holding it all together here.
これはいい判断ですよね。
いい判断ですね。ダメージ自体は、鳥さんへ求めているのは、1v1 のところのダメージもそうですけど、レートゲームまでしっかりと
Would you-
攻められてますから。
at a bit of a loss as to exactly what to expect coming out of this game. Guraidu, even with this huge gold spike, was able to pick up an early QSS
はちゃめちゃボットレーンへレベル6です。これが狙いだったわけですよね。
そうですね。
just to be able to get out of the Malzahar ultimate, but that's going to be a great kick opportunity for Hachimecha waiting in the wings there.
ところ素晴らしいですね。
Finds a play onto Unyan.
ナギ選手もよく合わせましたね。スタンにしっかりとしましたからね。
はい。
And a great trade kill back over to Rascal Jester. Corporal was wandering away, looking up towards this Rift Herald. So a good punish there, but now Natsume's got to find himself onto Cog. Cog autos, waits for the dash, and should be able to get a decent chunk over onto him for that one.
おナギはボットレーンのターンプレート削るようですね。
Meanwhile, Guraidu doing what Tristana loves best, which is just pushing down those turrets,
ピンク選手のアルティメットが
while Corporal stays up here towards the top side to try and push down this Rift Herald. I kind of don't... It's a little bit interesting to send Corporal up, as you do leave Unyan very exposed on the bottom end of things. But as it stands right now, AXIZ are playing all in for this upper end of the map. You've already gotten a lump sum of gold out of every member of Rascal Jester other than Cog. You might as well go up to the top side. Use that double pushing power as well as just spawn up this Rift Herald. See if you can crack this one a good couple chunks down.
これでホークレットがいけばかなり国語化がするとやめてくれよみたいな。
And as this game continues to open up for AXIZ Gaming, they're going to find themselves an early about 2k gold lead at 10 minutes into this one.
ただ決めるというよりかはゆっくりとしたい。
You can see the positioning of Hoglet ult up again.
タワープレート3枚
ええ。
入ってますから。
Would be more than happy to get another bountiful harvest off, as it's rather just going to spawn up the Rift Herald here, and Pink probably can't stay under turret for this one. Hachimecha is coming, but Corporal's going to face check right into him. Kick back out, the Sonic Wave follow through, but the Aftershock's going to keep him alive for now. A beautiful hook over there onto the Malzahar. Great disguise of intent there, as Nagi's going to be pulling that one through. Not going to be able to finish Guraidu off, as he's going to escape to the backside. Corporal blinking HP bar as well, but now Natsume and Unyan can really just run down the bottom end of this fight. Meanwhile, Hachimecha's trying to pick up the pieces. Guraidu's going very, very low. The Ezreal ultimate's going to cleave too. Hachimecha still going to lose his life in the end of that one. I mean, what a scramble that ends up being, but a benefit to AXIZ, as they should be able to push down this turret. Pink going to be teleporting back in here.
テレポートは間に合います。
これでマナムね、無駄マナ買うことはできると思いますね。
はい。
I love the look there from Corporal to find the hook onto Malzahar. So eyes go to him as we watch this replay. So he ends up face-checking Hachimecha, which is a rough position to be in. The Flay gives him Aftershock, which keeps him alive. But then locking up Pink there just gives him so much opportunity. It gives Guraidu free reign to just belt damage into him. And at this point, Guraidu's kind of struggling to find a way in without having the Blast Pack on E. You're really waiting for that cooldown before you can take any more all-ins. The beautiful Ezreal ultimate to pick up such a huge chunk of gold, but in the end, it's still for now benefit AXIZ Gaming, as they have mere turrets to try and knock down before they can really start opening this match up.
ただアクシズの優勢は
Ocean Drake picked up by Rascal Jester as an Infernal Soul hits the Rift. Both teams are going to be more than happy to pick this one up just to belt up their damage. And in this kind of a game, when fights are as scrappy as they are in that last one, more damage is going to be welcome in the arms of either side, as both Hoglet and Hachimecha looking around here. Corporal face-checking once more. Sonic Wave not going to land on Unyan. Now the opportunity to bait for Hoglet is on. So they're going to chase down Art a bit here, force out the Arcane Shift. It is actually called Arcane Shift, I do promise on that one. Corporal going to be taking a few honey fruits, just trying to heal himself up. While Guraidu just going to shove in the mid lane here. This sort of issue, well, hold that thought as Bountiful Harvest comes over the wall here. Hachimecha has kick, but will he be able to get away in time? He will, as Lantern pulls away his own jungler. to get to safety there. Nagi's in the middle of everyone. But once again, Garaidu with the QSS. Nagi has not learned that he can't be ulting the Tristana, as each time he's just QSS'd away.
取りましたからアクシズとしては悪くないですけど、一方でラスカージェスターもカウンターが非常にうまくできてますね。
Nagi not exactly up to date on what items this Tristana has already.
ただちょっと分かれてしまっているのは
What I was going to get at is that in the lane matchup, the Tristana E passive does kind of help out against Malzahar, as you're getting that extra pushing power from detonating so many minions on kill.
ピンク選手が取った
But that being said, it really feels like
ちょっと狙われてしまってそれをキープされて
Tristana is kind of the star of the show, but the rest of Rascal Jester are just kind of lost as to what you're going to do. As Natsume is going to be a little bit lost himself. Great dash away there to get out of that play. Had the Sonic Wave connected, could have been a little bit risky. But once you're already there, Hachimecha, no... I believe he just didn't have his W up to try and kick backwards. But it's a play that could easily turn on its head if he's not careful.
ずーっともうブルーバフ取ってますねホグレット
Benefit for Rascal Jester here is that Art is 8-0-4.
はい
ゴールドを集め
So
て
he'll be able to bring a very sufficient amount of damage up to this game, as
ガリアルは
Rascal Jester will be needing it with how far behind Pink is at the moment, and as well as how far behind his entire team is, just in the amount of turrets and turret platings they have lost this game.
ミッドのファーストタワーを破壊したことをアクシズは生かしてプッシュしてそして
Herald spawning up in about 40 and Infernal Drake soon to follow that. It's a little bit interesting to think that either going for the Rift Herald doesn't exactly sacrifice Infernal Drake, but it does sacrifice your opportunity at safely establishing a lot of vision around it. And as it stands, AXIZ just with full vision control of the dragon can really look to pass this one up and then punish Rascal Jester on the rotation. That is something I would personally love to see, but as it stands, AXIZ are already making the call that they want to have their cake and eat it too, moving up towards that Rift Herald.
レベル10です
The rest of Rascal Jester are merely waiting in the wings. Hoglet gonna be finding a face check from Cogcog there. A decent amount of damage. No magic resist on Cogcog yet, so he's not exactly as tanky as he wants to be. Meanwhile, Unyan alone in the top side. Here comes Call of the Forge God. There goes Hachimecha. The kick is good. Beautiful insect from Hachimecha, but is it enough? Almost goes down to the turret plate. The Triumph going to be helping him out there. As Unyan was just kind of alone in the top lane.
物理ダメージが多い構成に対して
And was kind of a little bit of poor positioning from Unyan there to kind of be up there in the first place. You did already see Cogcog on the top side there when he did face check Hoglet. So likely just did not expect Hachimecha to be waiting up there, but another good hook from Corporal might mean the death for Nagi as he's going to get bursted out. The ultimate lasting just a little bit too long as Granada is just going to QSS out of that one. Not going to walk the safe way out of turret.
いませんでした
Ends up actually going down as he didn't want to kite towards the middle area there to drop turret aggro before coming back. 2 for 1 overall is not a bad deal, especially giving gold over to Malzahar never feels too terribly bad once you already have QSS in your kit.
止められるという判断おっとホグレットの体力はほとんど
But Cogcog going all in onto Oglet will force his flash away. Does not have enough HP to
成功した
sit there and tank that one up while Unyan tries to do his best to deal with that
これウィニャンが
Rift Herald in the mid lane. No charge given over to that one as
止めましたねウニャン
Rascal Jester will trade their investment on that Rift Herald for their second Drake and first Infernal Drake of the game.
アクシズの方がゴールドのリードを広げることができたんですね、あとはアート選手のマナムネの完成を待つのがラスカージェスの動きですね。まだこれがマナムネ完成しないと
はい
ダメージが伸びませんから、
This sort of feels like one of those games of just
というのは本当に早いですね
早いですね。20分前には完成しそうですね。
both Rascal Jester and AXIZ are kind of just
この後のアートのキャリー
generally running through the playbook, but it's not exactly the cleanest play on either side.
強化ですけど今560なので
Corporal has been finding a number of decent opportunities on the Thresh, so
見えますね。
props to him, but overall, Neither team has really had clean play from start to finish, and the kill count being almost even on both sides is indicative of just that. Kadaidu trying to push down this last turret, but he has a number of members of Rascal Jester rotating up here. Will be spotted out on a ward as Hoglit's waiting in the wings. Does have opportunity to punish Hanchamecha going for a play here. But as Corporal and Hoglet are, or excuse me, Corporal and Unyan are wandering up here, will possibly give away that Rascal Jester know what's up. Last of the outer turrets fallen. Rascal Jester 1 turret to AXIZ's 3. But the Drake department is where they are holding the lead for now. And when you're talking about this comp or these teams going to the later end, a lot of this ends up falling on Art specifically, as Malzahar will do decent damage towards the later stages of this game. But if he ever gets opened up on by a Fiddlesticks ultimate, or gets found out by a hook from Corporal, the fights can easily be snowballed with Tristana bouncing between targets, so many squishy members, and it's very easy for Tristana to kind of get past Set, get out of Set's way, and move to the targets that she needs to do damage to, as well as Callista. Just so much kiting capabilities coming out from both of these ADs. Well, Art is looking for opportunity here onto Unyan, just trying to tag up a bit of damage. True Shot Barrage not going to cleave him all the way down, but will force Unyan to rely on that Vork healing for now. And as we're just kind of cresting into this next Drake opportunity, a lot of members congregating around the red side. I don't believe AXIZ are looking for a fight in the jungle here, but just in case they are, you can see Cog already on his way up. Play will diffuse, and he will be able to go ahead and get a back off before the next Infernal Drake is spawned up here. And this Infernal Drake could easily be a breaking point for this game, depending on how the fight around it goes. But if you are AXIZ Gaming, you want to be the first ones to have vision here, because if you can guarantee vision safety and have some pockets that you know Rascal Jester can't see into, Hoglet definitely has opportunity to find a great value ultimate and really kind of blow this game apart, especially because Malzahar does not do a whole lot to an ulting Fiddlesticks. Sure, you can ult him, but you're not stopping the AoE damage that Fiddlesticks brings, as well as, sure, you're really just cutting the W healing, which doesn't allow him to live for very long once he's in there. But at that point, if he's already getting the fears off, if he's already belting out a lot of that base damage that ult has, you can't be affording to use your Mal's ultimate on the Fiddlesticks when you have Kadaidu leaping around, Unyan dashing and slashing his way across. Well, Hoglet's in a great position here, although he does not have a lot of vision to play around. So needs to be worried about what information he has. Pink and Hanchamecha wandering up here into dangerous territory, but they do spot Hoglet there. As he wanders a little bit too far forward. Has Lantern to get out, but he will get Malzahar ulted. What's a great way to counter Fiddlestick's ulti to kill him before he even gets the opportunity. The little bit more open area of the Infernal Drake actually serving as a detriment to Hoglet there, but was a little bit of an awkward position to be in the first place. You don't have a whole lot of vision of Rascal Jester getting into that sort of river bush there, or their own entrance, so you don't know when members are going to be there, and you can't just throw out a Fiddlesticks ulti and risk your champion losing 95% of what makes them do what they do. But ends up just getting Hoglet caught out in the end.
ますから、アーマーが非常に高い状況で、カリスタやトリスターナと 1v1 を挑めると。
Don't have a great answer for you on that one.
いや、さらにはデスダンスも作りますから、これ早めにラストイスパー
But with 2 Infernal Drakes on the side of Rascal Jester, they're feeling okay about their chances, as now
察しが欲しいでしょうね、ウィン。
going the more defensive route of Ezreal does not feel nearly as bad,
確かに
that you're getting a lot of a lot of this like damage steroid coming in on your runes,
さあバロンに
while AXIZ are going to be
ここはやめます
harassing the Baron a little
ブ
bit.
ルートリンケットです
This is still anyone's game for the most part.
少し
Gadaidu is decently strong, but he kind of needs a little bit of time alone with somebody to all in them. As speaking of alone, Hachimecha gets found out alone as Pink pops ultimate, pops cleanse to try and get away from that one, but a great kick through the lines of AXIZ will stop that advance very early on as Corporal has an opportunity to try and escape here, but with no friends nearby, Art's gonna come over the wall with the arcane shift, gonna immediately be forced to back away as Unyan comes to save his teammate. Corporal goes back in, very risky, but he knows he will die for his team as they're gonna knock down Nagi in the end there as Unyan might not be able to finish. There we go, as Art's gonna just clean the rest of this fight up. And now Rascal Jester are the ones finding their fight. Natsume nowhere near to be seen in that one. Was stopping Cogcog's teleport on the bottom end of the map. But that was once again the thing that I criticize AXIZ for all the time. Corporal wandering up there gets disconnected from his team and Rascal Jester make the call to chase him down. As Pink was forced to just burn his ultimate to try and save his jungler, and in the sort of aftermath and disarray of that play not entirely working out for AXIZ, Rascal Jester were first up to pick up the pieces.
さあこれでバロン獲得はラスカルジェスターです。5名全員
Now evening up the gold count, but picking up a Baron as well. This is where Rascal Jester can really start to accrue a lot of pressure and open up soul opportunity for themselves. So it comes over the wall here, but there's just very little actual ult damage that Hoglet's able to get at that distance. The kick from Hachimecha is beautiful, and then Art is just looking for every opportunity to harass and do damage. Good recognition that Corporal is isolated towards the top side. And here, Rascal Jester try to get things going, and Corporal goes back in, which just, as AXIZ kind of look for this re-engage on top of re-engage, a fourth one comes out from the side of Rascal Jester when Nagi comes over the wall there.
インファーナルソウルですラスカルジェスター。
アイスボンガンドレットの強化、デスダンスの完成できましたから、
これアーマーかなり高いですよね。さあフックを狙いました。
As Corporal here, looking for more opportunities. Here comes the Crow Storm once more. That's going to be a huge amount of value from Hoglet to get that one started up here, but he will be pulled in there. The Sonic Wave actually followed in as a huge misplay from Hachimecha there. Does end up getting out in the end, and Rascal Jester fortunately pick up the pieces, but it was a little bit scary. After following in the Sonic Kick, he had sort of an interesting position where he's following a lantern Hoglet. Although they do end up picking off Corporal for that. And now as Ornn upgrades are coming in for his team, the opportunity is still open for Rascal Jester to pull this one out, and an Infernal Soul might just be the nail in the coffin if AXIZ are not able to get anything started up in any real amount of fashion here. It sort of feels like Garaidu is playing a little bit too safe, and even when Hoglet is going for these all-in engages, the rest of AXIZ are just not ready to follow up. And it's really starting to hurt the members of AXIZ when you are not letting Natsume get nearly any damage out in these team fights. Garaidu is not jumping forward and able to start putting pressure on. So Hoglet goes in with the ultimate to try and get things started up, but the rest of his team is just not in a position where they can follow.
それでもアーマー225あるアートですから。
Rascal Jester has inside track towards his Drake, and Art's going to be the one starting that one up.
インファーナルソードを手に入れるとなるとまたダメージが伸びますからね。
Trying to see what they can keep zoned for now, but Gaidu wandering a little bit too far forward here, and this is it. Once again, this is the same thing I've been talking about. AXIZ Gaming are just kind of, there's just this huge disconnect of who's supposed to go first, and every time that they fail upon it, Rascal Jester are the ones picking up the pieces.
インファーナルソウル獲得です。
あとは次枠バロンに合わせて、戦っていくと。
What sort of started as decent good early gameplay from AXIZ is just slowly starting to fall apart in the face of Rascal Jester, who, while you're not being first to the punch, which you typically would be with an Ornn ultimate, their counter engage is just kind of really what's been netting them the wins here, or netting them a lot of value.
というのが重要になってくると思いますね。同数で戦うのは今の状況だとかなり難しいですから。
And now with an Infernal Soul, their pushing power gets that much further ahead, as well as just having all of those extra stats jam-packed into their damage departments. This Rascal Jester just walking into the bottom side here. Natsume not going to be able to walk up to this one alone, but there's been seldom a fight that he is able to walk up to overall. As that turret goes down there. Next up, the inhibitor turrets, and they can honestly probably crack these ones open without Baron, just due to the amount of damage that they have. Hoglet trying to play dead here to get that Scarecrow passive.
あの状態からスキルを打てば、フィアが見えていても入るようになったというのが、アップデートでありました。
While the rest of Rascal Jester are just trying to find their way forward here. Hoglet, no real great ulti pop position, but he's gonna go for it. Gonna get burned down. No Zhonya's to even stall out for time. While the rest of Rascal Jester is splitting up towards the top side, trying to find members of AXIZ. Corporal's gonna be going down here. Regrouped on the bottom side. Rascal Jester are just gonna close this one out. What started as so bad for them in terms of just solo play, Rascal Jester really just kind of brought it all together in every team fight that they had. Nagi gonna be going very low, but gets out to safety, while Natsume is just locked in the pit with so many members of Rascal Jester. Art just gonna solo kill Garaidu standing in his own fountain. Nothing you can really do in the face of an Infernal Soul, and Rascal Jester not asserting themselves as the strongest solo laners, but definitely poising themselves as the better team fighters when it comes to that later stages of the game. Beautiful stuff to Rascal Jester for keeping composure throughout that early game and picking up the pieces to find their first win. And once again, I have to keep coming back to it. AXIZ Gaming are just not looking like a cohesive unit. They are just not looking like they're on the same page. And it's really starting to be their own downfall, as Rascal Jester are going to be taking this one home. Don't go anywhere. We're going to be going to a quick break once again, as Rascal Jester will be returning to bat, this time versus CGA, stepping up to the plate. Don't go anywhere.
はちゃめちゃでしたけれども、いかがでしたか、レボルさん。
かなり難しいスタートだったと思います。
正直負担はかなり大きかったですよね。
かなり大きかったと思いますね。ミッドレーンもガリアル選手に主導権を握られていて、で度重なるボットへのロームといったところがありましたが、ただそれでもゴールドを与えるきっかけ等は、しっかりと彼がこのファイトを続ける、相手の体力を削るという判断をしたことによって、ダブルキルといったところができましたから、さらにはアルティメットを使って人数のアドバンテージ作った状態で相手のキルを狙う、特にピンク選手との連携ですよね、そういったところもとても良かったと思いますね。先週本当